All right, so I'm going to go over a song that I said I wouldn't go over because it's 4 repetitive chords that just go around and around and around and around and around. I teach it to people on stage in about 30 seconds, if that. Um, but I want to talk about more important ideas today with this thing. First idea, let me just plant this seed. I don't really teach music in the traditional method because I learned to play music the way most kids, I think, do, which is you're in school and you're in 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever grade, and you got to take a music course and you play recorder and they teach you to read the music and whatnot, and that's great and all. But let's just take a look at that. The first thing you do is learn to read music through the eyes. You learn to use your eyes to enjoy music. A craft that is enjoyed entirely through the ears, unless you're at a show or performance, but if we're really just focusing on music, it's enjoyed through the ears, and we teach it through the eyes. You could put earplugs in me and make me deaf and give me sheet music, and I could still play it because I know how to read it. We teach music. Our society teaches music in a method for the deaf. It's just kind of interesting. Raises a couple questions about the efficiency of this method, which we are using, which was developed in like the 1600s or something. You know, it's like 2023. Things can change. Let's adapt a little bit. My opinion. Anyway, zombie. Here's the bass line. We're going to go over this twice, 2 different ways. So the first one, open E. 2nd note, 3rd fret A. 3rd note, 3rd fret E. 4th note, 2nd fret E. What's in your head, zombie? Hush, Lulu. Cat's unhappy. But that's it. That's the bass line. Add some, like, flair to it. Enjoy it. You know, the bassist is doing other things, but that's your basic stuff with it. Play with the rhythm. Good luck. Next part. Well, same chords, building off the bass line. But I'm going to use my top 3 strings, the thinnest ones. And so my right hand's going to be down here just plucking those 3. That's it. And what we're doing is the first chord is actually all of them are open. Bam. 2nd chord, 1st fret of the 2nd string, assuming we're counting up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3rd chord, we're going to use 3rd fret of the 1st string, 3rd fret of the 2nd string, open 3rd string. The reason I suggest you use your pinky on the bottom, ring on the next one up, because the 4th chord, we got to use all 3 strings fretted, and it's just a little trickier. Get rid of the pinky. Leave the ring. Middle finger takes 2nd fret E. Pointer takes 2nd fret D. 2nd fret E, sorry. No, it is 2nd fret D. This is what it looks like. 2nd fret in the bottom, 3rd fret next, 2nd fret next. This is a D major chord. And those are your chords. Another head hangs lowly, child is slowly taken. If you get fancy, you can try to put the parts together. They're all open in the beginning, remember? And the violence, 1st fret here, 3rd fret down here, causes silence. We must be mistaken. And then you wrap your thumb around if you want to grab that 2nd fret. This is crazy here. Just if you follow along, then great. If not, don't worry about it. We're diving into the deep end. But you got your 2 parts. Bam, 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 and then bam, 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 bam. Now, going back to the education system, it really focuses heavily on technique. I suggest don't worry about it. If you want to be a professional musician, then yeah, put a little heart into your technique. But if you're playing just to enjoy it, you don't need to really knuckle down on yourself. You know, have a basic idea of some good technique. Like if you're going to play the piano, don't play with your feet. Use your fingers. There's some basic good idea of technique. If you're going to play the guitar, use your fingertips here. Not like, you know, just making stuff up of weird things. And it's like, and also, even if you do practice some stuff with bag technique, there's going to be a lot of good stuff involved in it. Example that I used. I worked with this one little kid, and I taught them how to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on 1 string. And they practiced it for a week, and I came back, and I'm like, hey, how'd it go? You got Twinkle Twinkle? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, cool, let's hear it. And then they did this. So now the first thing is, I let them finish. This kid practiced that, put in time and effort and work. And the last thing I'm gonna do is say, no, you're wrong, before they even start. Like, music's a craft, it's a passion, it's a hobby. You gotta enjoy it, cultivate the spirit more than the technique. The technique will get better. And two, let's look at the fact that even though playing over the top of the guitar like this isn't a good technique, you're still building calluses, you're still building dexterity and strength. Your right hand is still working the strings. You're still establishing rhythm. You're still establishing melody. You're still like, there's so much good that was learned, even though it was coming over the top of the guitar. We need to make one little change, and that's it. So even if there's bad technique, there's still a lot of good stuff that's probably being learned. So don't beat yourself up too much. 2 or 3, 4, whatever this is. The act of playing an instrument is very similar to like riding a bike or performing, playing a sport, juggling. It's a really intense thing mentally that like, but can be applied to so many different, that has, it's different levels of like how intense it is though. Cause like playing that basic zombie with just one note in the bass line, totally can do that. I've played the song on bass many times, and sometimes I just let the note ring in certain parts of the song because I like the way it sounds. Like, I've actually used that, and I got paid money to do that. It doesn't have to be complex. And then, obviously, if you're doing other things that are more difficult and have more notes and more flashiness to it, there's that too, but like, build to it. Don't worry about it. Getting there too fast. Like, I think that's really a main thing. When you're practicing something, keep it simple enough that you can follow the rhythm. Rhythm is the most important thing. You could have the best theory knowledge, you could have the swiftest fingers and play the fastest scales, but if you can't do it in time, it's no good. So, play easy, play soft, play simple, and just get established in time, and then let the fanciness come. So like, using the example of riding a bike, if you're focused on technique before musicality and just fun and enjoyment, it's kind of like you get a kid on a bike and you say, okay, here we go, we're gonna learn to ride a bike, and you start getting them coasted off, and then they start wobbling. And so you grab them and you say, no, we can't do that. You get it back to the beginning. You say, let's try it again, but let's try better technique. And you get them going, and then they get wobbly because they don't know how to ride a bike. And you stop them and you say, no, you can't do that. It's bad technique. Let the wobbles happen. Just let them go down the road and wobble all over, fall a couple times, whatever, you know. When I'm working with students and like they slow down and speed up and mess up the time, you just speed up and slow down with them and just help coax them along and just give it a few weeks, and then they like settle into it. Then you start working on technique, because you're like, great, it sounds good, you know what you're trying to do, you're in control of what you're doing. Now let's learn how to make that control more efficient. But first establish some level of control instead of all the right little nitty-gritty stuff, in my opinion. Obviously in extreme cases, like, yeah, somebody's like, oh, I'm gonna play the guitar, and they're like trying to use their thumbnail or something crazy, like, I'm just making up, but like there's an extreme example of bad technique. But like piano, I'll let people just play with their pointer finger all day for the first couple weeks while they just learn melody and they just learn the ideas of keeping time, because eventually, naturally, what's gonna happen is they're like, I want to hit 2 buttons at once, keys, and then I'll be like, well, let's use another finger. Whoa. And now the technique expands, but it's on a solid foundation of rhythm. Yeah, I think I'll keep that one. Good luck.